Welcome inside Turner Gymnasium for some non-conference women's basketball between the host Lynchburg Hornets and the Regent Royals. Happy holidays, Hornets fans, and we'll say happy holidays and Merry Christmas to all the Regent Royal supporters. Kyle Haney and Kevin Nestor hanging out with you on a midday Tuesday, a little holiday hoops action. Nestor, we've had power outages and internet outages. We didn't even know if we were going to get the broadcast on, so I'm happy just to be talking to people right now and to be talking to you too.
Yeah, absolutely. Our first game getting the call together, kind of wrapping up in this Christmas break. What a time. Best time of the year. Exams are done and over. Fall semester is done and over. Now it's just time to sit back and be a basketball fan.
We should have a fun ball game. The Regent Royals 1-8, but there's reason to believe that they could be dangerous tonight. They lost to North Carolina Wesleyan last week, actually led after quarter one, so that's, I think, one of the points I'm trying to make about how this Royal team could be dangerous. But they're going to be going up against a Lynchburg squad that is playing good ball all year, 6-2 for the Lynchburg Hornets. They're coming off a Sunday victory on the road in Fredericksburg against Mary Washington. You see some statistical analysis there for both teams. Nestor, I think you hit on it. It should be a lot of fun, a little holiday hoops, middle of the day. Coach Hillary Scott, the Lynchburg men's coach, always talks about how this is the time you actually feel like a pro as a college basketball player. When the classes are done, all you've got to do is hang out with your buddies and play some basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. Focus on basketball. When you talk about Regent, obviously not to start there looking at 1-8, but you just go down the roster. 7 of the 11 listed athletes on their roster are first-year freshmen. So you kind of just give them a little bit of a grace period, right? Kind of get that time to gel together, mesh together, find your DNA, find your blueprint as a team. And I think for Regent, obviously you start to click. And when those things start to happen, good things happen in the record column as well.
You hit on some great things there. I think it's a Regent team. Their best years are ahead of them, but that doesn't mean they're just throwing away 2025 and 2026. We're at jump circle. It'll be Bree Spainhour for Lynchburg, my Angel Carter for Regent. Hornets win the tip. Lynchburg is dealing with some injury issues that we will get into here in just a moment, but the Hornets are in the home white, scoring on the basket to our left. Spainhour is going to get on the floor after a loose ball, and the early jump ball whistle comes out. Possession arrow going to Regent because Lynchburg won the tap.
And immediately you kind of see that aggressiveness, right? Regent's known for that, kind of applying a little bit of pressure on the outside, really not allowing Lynchburg to even look at a set option right off tip. Regent applying pressure and creating I guess we'll call it a turnover.
I think if you're Regent, they try to go with the high-low, and that goes out of play. Lynchburg ball after the turnover. Again, with Regent, I think you nailed it there because they're going to have to cause turnovers and make the game. Ugly is probably not a great word, Kevin, but what about chaotic? I think that's Regent's best bet to spring the upset. And if you look at the records, it would be an upset.
Absolutely, and you bring the energy out. You talk about Lynchburg missing pieces, only 3 of their core starters, if you will, in the lineup. So, yeah, throw some pressure at them, kind of rattle them a little bit.
Open 3 coming from Brooke Kaysen. Off the mark, rebounded to Madison Hoffman. Hoffman will look around and now shoot and score from just outside the paint. Lynchburg with the early lead. We've mentioned Brooke Kaysen, Bree Spainhour, Madison Hoffman. Here's a steal by Selah Parker. And the 5th and final starter for Lynchburg is Audra Petty, the leading scorer. Here's Bree Spainhour. She'll hook for 2.
And if you know about Bree Spainhour, you know that signature move right there. Get down to the low block and go to work. And if you're not going to kind of be a little physical down low, she's going to make you pay 9 times out of 10, just like that.
Yeah, great footwork on the inside. Great at finishing with both hands. She's got that hook shot with either hand. High rebound collected by Brooke Kaysen. Coach Allison Nichols for Lynchburg said we would like to press the tempo and run a little bit when we can. Got to be under control, obviously. And if you're missing 3 keys at the guard spots like Kayla Terry, Ashley Vandergriff, and Kate Littlejohn, I think it might slow down your transition game some, but we'll see. Foot slid out on Audra Petty. She fired anyway. No good. Another offensive rebound from Madison Hoffman. Sophomore guards working hard on the glass early for Lynchburg. Kaysen wants to try it from outside. She got it. Hornets 7-0 advantage.
And you talk about Regent defensively causing a little bit of chaos. I think that kind of fast pace for the Lynchburg offense is their version of that controlled chaos. Get out, run and gun, make the defense kind of lean on their heels a little bit. Get them kind of the backs up against the wall. That's when this Lynchburg offense goes at its best.
Lynchburg has lost twice, once to Washington and Lee, and once inside this gym in an overtime affair against Hollins a couple weeks ago. That's probably the one Lynchburg would like to have back. Not that they wanted to lose to Washington and Lee, but a ranked opponent on the road in Lexington. That's an easier pill to swallow. than losing at home to Hollins. Here's Spainhour going to work again. Chest pass to Brooke Kaysen. That's off the mark. Selah Parker, rebound, one dribble, up and in. 9-0 advantage will bring the timeout from Dante Minter, second-year head coach for the Regent Royals. Hey, let's stay here, Kevin, because we just barely got into it. We haven't had any good Christmas references yet. How's your holiday been so far? Are you not quite in the Christmas mode yet?
Oh, no, I'm absolutely ready to get after it, man. Exams are done and behind me, and that's when I start to turn to it, man. This is, like I said, man, it's the best time of the year. And, focusing as an athlete, like you said, focusing on only your sport. Now you get time to kind of relax a little bit. This Lynchburg team got a big break coming up. They're going to enjoy their Christmas, spend some time with their family. It's just, best time of the year to be a student athlete. Yeah,
Coach Nichols said the Hornets would get together tomorrow morning, and then they'd be off until probably December 28th or so. Lynchburg does play again in this gym on Friday, January 2nd, and then Saturday, January 3rd. Regent, they've still got more games this week. They're going to be in Lynchburg again, playing Randolph on Thursday, and then one more in December after that for Regent. But not a great start here for the Royals. What do you think Coach Minter's got on his mind in the timeout huddle there?
I think just so far it's just the boards. We've seen Lynchburg a couple of second chance opportunities, and it's come from rebounds by the guards. We saw Selah Parker get down low. Hoffman was down there as well, converting a second chance opportunity. It's the guards for Lynchburg, and really that's the position that we figured they'd kind of not struggle in, but be a little bit weak. That's not their normal starters, right? But they're coming out, playing with some purpose, getting those offensive rebounds and capitalizing on those second chance opportunities.
Fantastic point. The three quote-unquote guards, I use that phrase because all three of these players obviously can operate on the inside. But Brooke Kaysen, 2 rebounds. Madison Hoffman, 2. Selah Parker, 1. Lynchburg, 5 boards. Regent, not a rebound yet statistically. They trail 9-0, looking for some traction early. That's a good way to get it right to the hole, but the shot will not fall for Carter. And the Hornets go the other way with rebound number 6 of the ball game. Spainhour going to work again, and she clocked in, ready to get in Santa's workshop with a basket and perhaps a chance at a 3-point play.
Yeah, and again, it's just one of those one-on-one opportunities for Spainhour. And as the season's gone along, we talk about her coming back from that ACL injury at the start of the year. She didn't play the first portion of the year, but since she's come back, just kind of getting reacclimated, really like she hasn't lost a step. Now, obviously a little bit slow coming back. You got to get into basketball shape, but she has been great for this Hornet team.
Yeah, I love Bree Spainhour, one of the all-time best. It's over 150 games in a Hornet uniform when you combine her contributions to the Lynchburg volleyball team with her basketball play. Couldn't cash in on the 3-point opportunity. It's an 11-0 Lynchburg lead. Into the ball game, Jenna Sawyers. Breakout game for her on Sunday against Mary Wash. And that was a point Coach Nichols made in the pregame. Hey, we've got these injuries. It's a chance for a player to step up and really make a name for themselves and get more time. Jenna Sawyers seems to be in that boat. 11 minutes played, 7 points against Mary Washington. But Coach Nichols and the staff really impressed with her confidence. Here comes Taylor Brown in the ball game, number 22, another reliable post option. Sawyers will bring it up and hand off to Audra Petty. Petty quiet so far, traveling violation on Brooke Kaysen. She tried to go dashing down Jingle Bell Lane or something like that. I'm trying to work in some holiday references.
I love it.
I don't want them to be forced, though. You know what I mean? It's got to be natural. 11-0. Hornets pitching the shutout. Behind the back from Kennedy Shipman. She's the leading scorer for Regent. See, she can be a ball-dominant kind of guard, but play off the ball as well. Shipman looking for it back here with 12 on the timer. Hesitation. Now she'll pull up and fire. Just off the mark. More great Lynchburg rebounding. Kaysen looks to push. Brown running the floor well. Fouled, and she's got a chance to turn with Payne into some extra payment. 13-0. Brown to the free throw line.
And again, just you see that fast pace, pushing the tempo on the fast break, getting it down low and going to work. Lynchburg making it an emphasis. We know them for their 3-point shooting, but here today, getting their work in the paint.
Yeah, I love that. Just 8 points in the paint on Sunday in the win against Mary Washington. Almost hard to believe that number because, as you said, Lynchburg, yes, they can shoot the three-pointer, but when you got Bree Spainhour and Taylor Brown, they're going to score the bulk of their points in the lane. There could be more of those this afternoon. Regent still looking for their first bucket. Eliza Enninger Ensminger, pardon me, at the top of the key. Now it's back to Shipman, nearly stolen. She's looking around, fires the three, nailed that. Nothing but nylon there. Regent needed it. Kennedy Shipman, 36th three-pointer made this season.
Yeah, we've seen Shipman get open a couple of times in the offensive end. Obviously the first time able to capitalize there, but I really like that, run the offense through her. Let her go to work.
Wraparound dish from Sawyers. Brown couldn't convert.
And for Lynchburg, you talked about it, 8 points on Sunday in the paint. How about this? 10 of their first 13 here this afternoon coming from the paint.
Shipman going to navigate through and float. No good there. Offensive rebound by Carter. She'll hook it to the rim. Won't drop. So finally an offensive rebound, or a rebound of any kind for Regent. Doesn't prove to be fruitful there. As you see Sawyer skip through and hand off to Audra Petty. Petty will get to the glass. That won't roll home. Interesting that Lynchburg's up 10. They've actually missed a few point-blank opportunities.
Yeah.
4.5 left to play in quarter number 1. Basically all Hornets so far. Petty, low post defense. And that will be good enough, and there's another guard with a rebound, Jenna Sawyers. Frosch wants to gallop into the front court quickly. Well, she moves well. You can see where with more seasoning and confidence, number 32, Jenna Sawyers, could be one of the best. And there's one of the best right now for Lynchburg. Audra Petty drains it from 17. Petty's been in double figures every game this season. Three-pointer up from Ensminger. No good. Petty with the takeaway. Brooke Kaysen now running the floor. Bounce pass inside to TB. Taylor Brown can't roll it home. Petty fighting for that rebound. And it's not going to get the stat, but Lynchburg will get the ball back. Bree Spainhour checking back in. Here comes Jacqueline Jacobisi. And one other new Hornet out there. Madison Hoffman back in the ball game, I think, Nestor. Let me double check that. No, it's number 20, Allie Schaefer. Here's Spainhour dribbling out of the corner. Schaefer to the top. They're going to call an illegal screen. This will be foul number 1 on Lynchburg this quarter. If you're Lynchburg, you got to be careful again with Regent. Regent led after a quarter against North Carolina Wesleyan. But outside of that, Nestor, I think you still want to play to your standard regardless of opponent.
Absolutely, and you take a look at Regent. You mentioned it for Lynchburg, what the lead could be. Regent's also had some of those doorstep opportunities, and unable to capitalize. And you got to think that for Regent, you capitalize on some of those, you gain a little bit of momentum. With this team, especially the lineup on the floor now, extremely young. Maybe you can rattle them a little bit.
Sawyers went sprinting to the basket and got fouled. Here comes Natalie Poole in the game for her first action. Another player that had sort of a breakout day on Sunday. We missed Caitlin Canada coming in, so it is a very young lineup right now. Canada first year, Poole first year. Jacobisi, Frosch as well. There's one of the elder statesmen, Bree Spainhour. Three-pointer coming from Canada. Missed everything. Royals doing better on the glass at the moment. Maybe it's just more Lynchburg shots right now. Hornets scoring pace has slowed a bit. Good take away from Bree Spainhour. Nice job to get the arm around without committing the foul. Good defense on the perimeter by number 3, Zipporah Johnson. She's a junior and one of the few players with experience for Regent.
Yeah, really good on-ball pressure there. And like I said, for Regent, throw a little bit of pressure at them, capitalize on your opportunities, and you kind of flip the script, flip the momentum of this game a little bit. 2:30 in the first quarter. This is your chance. Put some work in this game.
Spainhour activating, fadeaway hook. She will get the roll. Fantastic touchdown there for Bree Spainhour.
And you talk about the 4 first years on the court for Lynchburg, and you talk about the scoring slowing down a little bit. When you need that spark, who do you turn to? Go to that veteran leader, Spainhour.
Offensive foul. Poole is trying to fight around the difficult screen from Michaela Telfer. That's foul number 4 on Regent here in quarter number 1. Still 2 and change. Fantastic replay. Shout out to the LHSN crew. They're working overtime here on the holiday break. Handoff triple coming. That won't drop. A fight for the rebound with Telfer. She'll hand to Johnson, who will just walk it up the front court. There's that on-the-ball pressure again from Poole. Another offensive foul. Almost a carbon copy of the previous possession. Telfer, I think, she's probably asking herself, what else do I need to do? And you got a good look at it on the replay. I love our replays, Kevin. You can kind of be your own official. You get to see how hard it is to be a ref, too.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially kind of live right there. It's a bang-bang call, and when you're able to slow it down, you kind of see that little half step to the side. That's the reason the whistle was drawn.
Poole around the double screen and to the rack for a deuce. Speed from Natalie Poole. 11 minutes against Mary Washington. She scored 9. When you're in that zone there where you've almost got as many points as minutes played, that's the Audie Crooks territory now. I'm sure you've seen the fantastic player from Iowa State who's, I guess, averaging more points than minutes played. Step back tray ball coming from Shipman. That won't fall. Hornets quickly the other way. Good job to stall out the fast break attempt. Spainhour, pop passing. Yeah, tic-tac-toe around the lane there for more Lynchburg points. And now the Hornets are rolling 21-3 at the moment for Lynchburg.
And for Spainhour, that's such an underrated part of her game. Whenever, scoring opportunity isn't there, she's a kind of a pass-first option. Great job on the defensive end. Canada going to work.
Rim protection. Border patrol there from Canada. Nestor gave me a look, folks.
I love it.
We need a booth cam so we can see the looks that Kevin Nestor gives. There's that on-the-ball pressure again from Poole. They'll force it inside. The high shot actually hit the shot clock, and that's a dead ball. Goes to the non-shooting team. Here's a look at the extra pass from Spainhour. Yeah, you called it there. Just on target, chest pass. Got some snap to it. There's the defense on the other end from Canada. Down to 37 left in the quarter. 20 on the shot clock. Set play from Lynchburg. Haven't seen many of those. It's been mainly freewheel within the offensive structure so far, and it will result in a turnover. Royals can hold for the last. Shot clock still on. And the ball will result in a tie-up as the teams are getting scrappy. It's a bring-your-own-energy kind of game, Kevin, and we might not have enough time to fully make the point, but not a massive crowd in the gym, so you got to find a way to bring your own spirit to the ball game, and that can be a way to do it. Get a little scrappy out there.
Yeah, absolutely, on the court, and then big time whenever benches get involved, you hear that noise kind of start up. That's when a team's kind of fully cohesive, if you will.
Fantastic phrase by you. 12 on the first quarter clock. Lynchburg loses it. Shipman with some time, still 5. She'll drive on Spainhour, who got the block, but they'll say too much contact there. Free throws coming up for Regent. The Royals have not attempted a free throw yet in this ball game. Shipman trying to dust herself off. Looks like she banged the right elbow a little bit. And she'll shake some feeling back in with 3.1. If you're Lynchburg around the free throw lane, you should be maybe discussing a potential buzzer beater opportunity on a missed shot, or if it's a quick inbound to get it to half court, potentially. I think 3.1, you probably got time to get it in the front court. Shipman, referee, asked her if she was okay. She indicated that she was, and the converted free throw would also back that up. Yeah, with Poole's speed, she won't take long. Let's get it off of the backboard, but not in. And that's how quarter number 1 will come to a close. A fast-moving first frame was a good one for Lynchburg. They lead 21-4. Kyle and Kevin back in just a moment on LHSN and Flow College. 1 quarter in the rear view, 3 more in the windshield. That auto reference was for Kevin Nestor, my partner in crime. Naughty by Nestor, what'd you like about Lynchburg's first quarter, and what'd you love? There wasn't a lot to dislike for Lynchburg.
Oh, absolutely. I love their dominance in the paint right now. Winning the rebound column 13-9. Regent kind of got going a little bit towards the second half of that first quarter, but Lynchburg kind of just asserting their dominance in the paint.
Emily Evans in the ball game for Lynchburg. She'll get the rebound and race it into the front court herself. Here's Kayla Sledge. So Lynchburg has used the bench extensively. Scramble on the floor that Regent will win. They'll stop the fast break effort and go to work here in the half-court set. Shipman pauses, now fires. Not close on that one. Regent, by the live stat numbers, 1 for 17 from the field. Some of that is self-inflicted, Kevin, but a lot of that is Lynchburg's defensive pressure. Yeah,
absolutely. And I like the bench utilization, if you will. I think Coach Nichols kind of has that opportunity today with some of your starters banged up, but the offense still flowing the way it is. Go ahead and throw some new faces in there, see what they can do for your team, especially in a game like this where you come out and you take control 21-4 at the end of the first frame.
I like this spark from Evans. She's bouncy. Good play here. Lob it into Sledge in the mid-post and then get it back on the handoff on the move. That's tough to stop. So we are seeing Lynchburg freelance a little bit, but then there are some things you can tell are by design. Free throw good from Emily Evans.
And as a former, 6'9" high school center, that right there is the best play to watch. You always want to applaud it when you see a two-man game working inside the paint. Go to this inside and then go to work. Screen action, maybe dribble handoff, whatever it is. Seeing, 2 post players go to work is always a beautiful thing.
Yeah, there's so much you can do with those dribble handoffs. When the defense starts to overplay, all of a sudden you got options off of that. It really is a beautiful part of the game, especially like you said, for a player with some size. Hey, congrats to Emily Evans on her first points of the season, by the way, from the free throw line. She had played in 1 game prior to this, but had not scored. Regent's going to get a much-needed basket. Johnson to the rack, and she'll have a chance at the 1-and-1. Zipporah Johnson has played in all 10 ball games now for Regent, averaging just around 4 points per game.
Yeah, and a beautiful job that time, getting north to south in a hurry, fighting through the contact and able to convert the basket. Couldn't convert the 3-point opportunity, but nice job seeing one go through the hoop for the Royals.
Oh, fantastic. There's the overplay right there. Lynchburg was going to run the handoff. Brooke Kaysen then slid it on the backdoor cut to Madison Hoffman. Sophomore scores another. Lynchburg 25-6 at the moment. I think the Hornets are running what they want right now. You almost wonder how deep do you want to go in the bag, because you might not want to give a future opponent film on some of your other stuff, but it is nice to get a chance to work on some of these things. As Evans lost the ball, but it ends up with Brooke Kaysen. Evans for 3. Can't slide the present down the chimney that time. Regent content to walk the ball up the court a little bit. I think you and I both thought we might see the Royals try to run some transition offense, but it seems like they want to operate in the half court predominantly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was just kind of one of those adjustments made at the end of the first quarter. Slow things down. You weren't converting, in the fast-paced opportunities. So, you kind of work a set right there. Go to the inside and take them easy, too.
Yeah, good job to lean in by Sharday Williams. Another missed bucket. Regent has a legitimate chance to go on a small run, a mini run. Sharday Williams has got a season high of 26. She really used that shoulder nicely inside. Had some foul trouble in a few other games, including the game against North Carolina Wesleyan. But you see, Regent wants to go to Sharday Williams. They'll go again. Played through some contact, no whistle. Obvious frustration there as the Hornets head the other direction. Kaysen head up. Snap pass. Hoffman knocking down the mid-range, not dead in this gym. Great shot from Hoffman.
Absolutely, and that one a little bit of a freelance transition opportunity. But for Lynchburg, that's where they've been kind of stellar at so far today. Even when you get into those set plays, having those hybrid options where you can utilize a second or third opportunity, you find a free area, you take it.
Shipman too much. Sledge with the rebound. Hornets want to run again. Up ahead to Petty. She'll finish with the finger roll. 29-8. Lynchburg by 21. I love that you talk about the multiple options, multiple actions. That's something that And I know there's a big difference between what we're seeing in the NBA, but that's something you hear about so much because they're going to take away your first and second action. Sharday Williams is not feeling great, I think, at the moment. She's going to step off the court. So subs will come in for both squads. We'll keep an eye on that. Coach Dante Minter is actually going to go over there and check on Sharday Williams along with one of the Lynchburg athletic trainers. I don't know if she was just winded or maybe an illness situation, but thankfully she got off the court on her own 2 feet. And we will have our media timeout with 6:20. So we'll pause here for a little breather. It's all Lynchburg at the moment. Hornets by 21 inside Turner Gymnasium. It is the most wonderful time of the year with the kids jingle belling and everyone telling you to be of good cheer. Kyle and Kevin telling you to watch more basketball. Kevin, I know we'll get off topic a bit here. I know you're a fan of pretty much every sport. In this Christmas break time, do you find yourself watching more hoops? I mean, you can't watch college football games all the time.
Well, I mean, it's just the perfect time of the year for it, right? You talk about start of December. We're both pool fans. You got the Moscone Cup kicking off. You're going into college football bowl season. You got holiday games with playoff implications in the NFL, the NBA in-season tournament, the Cup going on. It's a perfect time to be a sports fan.
It really is. Shot clock violation. I think that caught Regent and us by surprise because the possession started. Williams stepped off the court, and the clock was still going there. Regent, I think maybe you assume it's an inbound play. You got a fresh shot clock to work with. And that one ran out on them quickly. So it'll go down as a good defensive stand for Lynchburg, albeit a strange one with a media timeout in between it. Taylor Brown will have that one on the housetop for a bit with the reindeer, and then it will slide down the chimney one more time. Down the chimney is actually one that could stay year-round in basketball, I think. Because you need like 1,000 ways to say she made the basket. You could slide one down the chimney up there.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to throw that one in the phrase bank. I know Gates has got his, Gates phrase bank that he uses. Maybe we can start to incorporate that one a little bit more.
I think so. And then when he uses it, we can say he stole it from us. Sayla Parker back in the ball game. Started for Lynchburg. Taylor Brown had to go up top and catch that one. She's playing through some contact. You can tell Regent with a bit more physicality here after that timeout. I think that was Tyler Marie Henry that committed the foul.
And both teams making an emphasis. Lynchburg on the offensive end, everything going through the post right now. And that's kind of that versatility we talked about earlier. Whenever you can work, I think that's your best chance as an offense because you obviously you're close to the basket. You have a chance to work there, but then possessions that can create from the inside out. And with Lynchburg, you have so many perimeter threats. Working off ball is not a problem. So for them, I think this is when their offense operates at its best.
I totally agree. I think basketball, even in the age of the three-pointer, is still a proximity game, right? The closer you get to that basket, the higher the shooting percentage is. You stress the defense, and then as you hit on, then you can kick out for some of the mid-range and long-range stuff. It's Jenna Sawyer's back in the ball game. She'll get called for a blocking foul as Johnson was driving down left lane line. 33-8. I think with Regent, more physicality could be part of the message from the coaching staff. Look, you're down by a lot. How are you going to respond? Sometimes that response means you play tougher. And not enough resistance there as Selah Parker into fifth gear and up to the rim.
Absolutely. That's speed on display right there, and that's another phrase whenever Lynchburg's at their best. They're running and gunning, and opportunities like that they're able to capitalize on and make a defense pay.
I think you're right. Parker understood where the defense was as well as Regent on the boundary there for a turnover. I mean, that's the fun thing about the transition game is a lot of times it is passing, long passing, successive passes, but sometimes it's a sprint dribble as well. That can get the ball down quickly too.
Yeah, and whenever an offense kind of runs that identity, I love that identity as a team because that's your highest percentage to get a bucket. One-on-one opportunities, or even if you got breakaway speed, you can get out and get to the glass. Not every time you got to slow things down and run a set, especially whenever you've got a chance to get out in front.
Great take by Sawyers on the last possession. Nice defense there as well to wall up and not commit the foul. Spainhour running now. Thought Parker was going to break to the basket. Instead, she went outside. It is a Lynchburg turnover. 37-8. Hornets in command. Just scanning the box score here, Kevin. It looks like 10 Lynchburg players have scored already. Spainhour and Hoffman leading the way with 6 apiece. But the balance right now is incredible for Lynchburg. 37 points from 10 different players. Scramble for this loose ball as Johnson was bopped from several sides. Let's see who the foul is on. 3:40 remains in half number 1. You and I talked about how quickly this half is moving. Neither coach is, well, we have had one timeout. Actually, I was going to say neither coach has called a timeout. That's not true. Henry holds the ball over her head. No dribbles. Back to Johnson. Back to Henry at the top of the key. She'll drive on Taylor Brown. Lost the handle and then crash landing at the end. Nice hustle from Taylor Brown. Henry did not opt to use the hand up, but you got to like the sportsmanship there from TB.
Really good job defensively as well. I mean, you talk about Lynchburg applying pressure. We kind of harped over and over again on their offensive end, but that's multiple possessions here in the second quarter where Regent looks like they can get something going and maybe a spark created, and Lynchburg just kind of, like you said, walls up and allows nothing by them.
Sawyers, nice job to bring it out of the corner there. She didn't even get into a full shot fake, more of a show and go, but then her speed really is impressive. Jenna Sawyers, first year from Galax, the Maroon, great athletic program down there at Galax High School. Not that far from you, Nestor, in Patrick County. Did you guys ever play Galax back in the day?
We never played Galax. Okay. We were always that Carroll County rivalry ran deep. Yep. Patrick County, Carroll County, Galax. Like you said, not too far. It's a little roots. It's family roots in Galax.
Love that. 37-8. Lynchburg by a lot. Still seeing a high level of focus here from the Hornets, though. Selah Parker defending Kennedy Shipman. Shipman's been quiet. Spin and go from Zipporah Johnson. She got bodied to the ground. Assistance on the way up. She'll go to the free throw line. Now Johnson is not from close by. Waterford, Michigan. I looked it up. It's a Detroit suburb. I didn't just know that off the top of my head, but it is just kind of northwest of Detroit. She's on the free throw line in Central Virginia now.
See, I like that. You'll utilize that. You did your background. Yeah. See, you work with Joe Brennan. He'll throw that stat out there like, that's easy, common knowledge. He's over here on his phone looking it up the whole time.
No, that's funny. Hopefully we got some folks listening in Michigan. Detroit. Now you talk about sports towns. That's up there. The all-time best. Johnson missed the free throw, but Carter got the rebound and powered up. Fouled from behind. Should be 2 for my Angel Carter. She's a junior from Georgia, so there is some interesting geography on this Regent University lineup. They're in that coast-to-coast conference, which is an interesting deal, and some real heavy hitters in that conference. And in some of those sports, they don't even play the conference teams until you get to the tournament, which I don't really understand. I thought the point of the conference was so you had a built-in schedule and you didn't have to go looking for all these games, right?
Yeah, but then, you got coast to coast and teams are all over the place, and it's tough on a little D3 school just to play all over the country, right?
No doubt about that. Petty around the screen, back to Sawyers. Ooh, Sawyer's got in the air and was looking across the lane to Jacobisi, but it's off the hands and out.
I do think sometimes, that's a conversation that the ODAC doesn't get enough credit for. The amount of teams right here in the area, you don't have to go and schedule that many out-of-conference games, especially in the Lynchburg area. You look at two teams, Randolph, Lynchburg, right down the road. You got Roanoke. Just teams really within that 2-hour range, almost every team in the conference. And then obviously you got Guilford. That one, we'll throw that one to you. Guilford in the Old Dominion Athletic Conference.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, of course, now in the Division I game, conferences are pretty strange. But, yeah, I think that was the original idea of having the conference. Hey, let's get together. So we've got a built-in schedule. We can play a couple times a year. And it does make the travel easier when you're playing these squads. How about a kick out there, and Allie Schaefer nailing it from outside. She's a jolly, happy soul and putting Lynchburg up by 30 now. Poole will get the assist there. Kind of fumbled the dribble. Might have been in danger of committing a violation. No backcourt because Poole touched that one, but it might have been a double dribble as Johnson will offload to Tyler Marie Henry. Subs waiting at the table for Lynchburg. Floater up from Shipman. Wanted a call, couldn't get it. This ball is kicked out of play, and it will go to Regent. So it has had the elements of sloppy basketball at times, Kevin. I always hate to say that because I feel like it doesn't give the players on court credit for their efforts and what they're trying to do out there.
Well, I think that's just a part of it, right? You talk about both of these teams we figured would come out and play that fast-paced tempo, trying to keep it up, and especially right there you see transition opportunity, and when you're just trying to split defenders, things happen. Deflections on a dribble or a kick ball, things like that. It's just one of those elements in fast-paced games.
Number 13, Allison Booth, is in the ball game for Lynchburg, and she'll pick up the loose ball. Here's Natalie Poole zigzagging through traffic, lost it off the knee. And there's a learning moment for Natalie Poole. The speed is obvious. Just got to find a way to control it so you can keep that ball and then get to the rim for the scoring option.
That's always so tough. You want to go at 100 miles an hour, and sometimes, the best pace is a controlled pace.
Love that. Poole nearly got in the passing window. Instead, it's Sharday Williams, who is back in the ball game, and that's good to see.
I'll tell you, though, when we talk about pace and controlled pace, I'm going to go on a little tangent here, but how about ODAC men's basketball side?
Yeah.
DJ Ross. You talk about controlled pace. That kid, man, I love calling those games and watching him play. He's such a fun athlete to watch. And talk about fun athletes, we got quite a few out here on the court today.
We do. Triple from Allie Schaefer. 43-10. No, I want you to continue more on that because I think there are some things from your point that are certainly applicable in the women's game, and you got a player like Ross or some of these great players. Their speed limit is going to be a little bit higher than Natalie Poole's, right? But I think those best players, they find where their speed limit is, and they play pretty close to it a lot of the time, right? They don't play at half speed. They say, all right, if my limit's 60 or whatever, and obviously that's just an ambiguous example, but find wherever your top end is and then try to hit that mark more often than not. That's when you're going to be at your best.
And I think, there's things to learn from other games, in the coaches' conversation on the break. LHSN's YouTube channel showed Hillary Scott did a good job of talking about that with coaches, but players as well. And it doesn't matter if it's a men's game or a women's game, whatever it is. As a fan or as a player, you're always watching and thinking. You can incorporate different styles and techniques into what you do. It's not just a, your identity game. You got to take little bits and pieces from almost everybody you watch, and that's what makes games like this so fun to watch. You're seeing different talents on display, and you might see a teammate incorporate something that they learned in a game.
Schaefer wants one more. That missed everything. Booth had it on her hip but couldn't fling it back inbounds. 3.2 seconds left to play in the half. Yeah, second half, I want to get into that a little bit more. Let's see if Regent can hustle something up. Shipman would be the likely candidate. She'll fire from about 60. Not close there, and that's how the first half will come to a close. Right now, it's Lynchburg dancing merrily along their way, 43-11. All Hornets inside Turner Gymnasium. Kyle and Kevin back in a minute on LHSN and Flow College. We're back inside Turner Gymnasium on the campus of the University of Lynchburg. We hope you're having so much fun here as we hoop the day away here during the holiday season. We are on Wayne Profit Court. We've got more basketball inside today. It'll be Randolph and Greensboro men's basketball action, and then Greensboro and Lynchburg tomorrow for the Wayne Profit Classic. So now you're up to date on everything going inside here. It's a big Lynchburg lead right now, 43-11. Regent has not emerged from the locker room just yet, Kevin. So we can discuss basketball. We can discuss whatever you want right now. Dealer's choice for you, my friend.
Oh, man. Where do we get started at?
You said you had a tangent you wanted to get on.
Well, there's a few of them, right?
Sure.
I mean, this basketball. Well, let's start with the Wayne Profit Classic. How do you think Randolph feels? You know, obviously this is a tournament. It's an invite tournament, but you got to play today in Lynchburg at another gym.
Yeah. That's a good question. I think the life of a college basketball player, you just get used to playing in different gyms and doing different things. I think you make an interesting point, though. I'm not discounting your question that you posed right there at all.
Yeah, you got one game today against a team from North Carolina traveling to Lynchburg, and you've got to travel 5 minutes to play them.
Right. No, you do. Again, you make a good point. And, of course, in the modern college sports environment, a lot of times you're practicing in another gym as well, maybe when you go on the road. Regent opens up with the basketball, but an early turnover. And the Hornets are out and running again. Audra Petty takes the hit. Ooh, can't cash in. She'll go to the free throw line. We'll get back to what you were talking about in a second. 11 Lynchburg players scored in half number one. 11 scored. There are there are 4 players with 6 points apiece. I botched the numbers there. Bree Spainhour, Madison Hoffman, Allie Schaefer, Taylor Brown all have 6 points leading the way for Lynchburg right now. It speaks to the balance. Audra Petty with her 5th point of the ball game. So if she makes this, she'll join that party with 6.
It's interesting to me. Lynchburg comes out with their starting 5, so not really looking to change things up just yet.
Well, let's go back to that tangent then. What are your expectations for the second half from Coach Nichols? You think these starters get the entire quarter or maybe 5 minutes of it, see where they're at? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think this is just one of those, kind of come back out, run a couple of sets, see what you made. And then I think we're going to see, quite a bit of bench depth. You talked about the scorers that have already scored for Lynchburg. I think that just continues to expand. You got a chance. Right before you get into conference play, you take a long hiatus. You can play some of that younger talent or some of that talent on the bench that just doesn't get to see a lot of court time. See where they're at. See what you've got on the bench. So when conference time rolls around, if you need a number to call on, you know exactly where to go on that bench.
Low post entry for Spainhour. She'll toss it over the top as Brooke Kaysen collects and looks around. Back to Spainhour. Get around there. They'll actually call that an offensive foul as Spainhour was getting around. Extended that left arm just a bit. 9 minutes left to play in the third. Kyle Haney, Kevin Nestor, our LHSN crew is really good. Yeah, there's another look at it. Again, from that angle, makes the call a little bit easier. The officials don't always have that great angle right there.
How about the foul call in P8? Jamarcus Brown showing a little PA skill off over on the scorer's table.
He's a multi-talented individual. Ooh, up and under move, but that's a traveling violation. Jamarcus Brown is doing the public address, and he's excited. He is a member of the Lynchburg men's basketball team. And a darn good one. Well, Spainhour, blown assignment there. That was way too easy for her. Jamarcus Brown. Search for some Jamarcus Brown highlights sometime. We have a timeout on the court, so I'll just tell the fans that don't know. Jamarcus Brown is a major high flyer, a dunking machine. He does more than that, but certainly when you say the name Jamarcus Brown, that's, I think, our first thought, right, Kevin?
Yeah, absolutely. And you said search it up. It's not going to be hard to find. You can go to YouTube, you can go to Lynchburg, Instagram, anything like that. But I'll tell you what impresses me is the fact that a lot of times he gets overlooked as a dual sport athlete. And obviously when you got that kind of athleticism, you're kind of born to be, but for him, Lynchburg track and field, this guy's top 3 in the country in the high jump. I mean, that's impressive. And he comes in as a freshman and does it. I'm going to tell you, though, kids from Danville, Virginia, love that for the local area, hate that for the teams around, especially Patrick County. You got to go down and play Tunstall a couple of times, and you got to play Jamarcus Brown. It's not fun. Patrick County, you go down, you play hard, technical basketball, and you run into an athlete like this, and just kind of shows you there's levels to this.
Yeah, there's levels to this. Yeah, I think he was back-to-back region player of the year at Tunstall High School his junior and senior years, and
state champion in the high jump.
Yeah, love that you hit on that side of it as well, the two-sport side. And yes, there are some genetics in there, but there's also the hard work that he puts in to both of those things. Now, he might tell you, the high jump, you just come out and do whatever. But there's some technical elements to that not just anybody can pick up. And Jamarcus Brown has those technical elements as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and like you said, work ethic's everything. And for him, I mean, he's got the best that I've ever seen here at Lynchburg. I mean, he comes in, he's one of the first people in the gym. You know, him and Pearson Young, always the first in and the last out. And I think that kind of speaks to their on-court performance as well.
Perfect read right there on the interception. That was Hoffman that could not convert from the left side. Selah Parker there to pick up the discarded wrapping paper after the present opening. She'll go to the free throw line. I think it is fun, though, to get a guy like that behind the microphone and see what he can do, because you find out kind of what we were saying about how he's great at track and field and also great on the basketball court. You find out these talented people, they're talented in a lot of different areas. It can kind of humble guys like me and you, where we're only good at like one thing. Then you find out these guys like Jamarcus, he can do everything.
Yeah,
he's going to bounce us out of a job.
It'll really kind of even on the flip side of that for an athlete, open their eyes. What goes into all of these games? I mean, we have so many athletes working at LHSN, and their first couple of times in there, like, man, I didn't know this much went into making this, happen. So for them, just to be able to pop in and kind of get a glimpse of our world, as we call it their world, it's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, and those successful people in life, they do tend to have that curious gene too, where they see something and they say, well, let me figure out how that works. Maybe I can do that. There's the competitiveness in there as well, saying if somebody else can do it, I got to be able to do it as well. And there's some truth to all of that, as a missed shot from Regent will get collected by Audra Petty. She'll scamper across the timeline. Kaysen thought about the three. Underhands it to Selah Parker. 49-11. It's all Lynchburg. Lynchburg has never trailed in this ball game. Got out to a fast start, really didn't look back. The pop passing there, and it leads to the open tray ball from Audra Petty, and she'll lace it from the top of the key. You and I spoke about that earlier. There's some dribble penetration, there's some passing, a paint touch or two, and then it leads to that open three.
Yeah, that's what's so dangerous for an offense like Lynchburg. I mean, obviously dominating the inside in the first half, but whenever you're able to do that, you open up so many different avenues. And when you have the three-point shooting capabilities that this Lynchburg team has, those driving kicks, man, they become so free and the opportunities are there. And you start to kind of throw sets out the window. Just run your driving kicks.
Henry couldn't keep her feet. It's up to Audra Petty. Petty with a delay. Now it's Brooke Kaysen. Triple won't drop. Out of bounds, back to those great offenses, and I think Lynchburg could be a great offense. You got to remember, they're without some of their resources right now, including Kayla Terry, Ashley Vandergriff, and Kate Littlejohn. But I think, they're at their best when they do have that patient, probing approach. Patient doesn't just mean you hold the ball and you pass it around 30 feet away from the basket, but it means you don't rush the first shot attempt, and you find ways to break down the defense. I think Lynchburg can get that consistently, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, literally they have, such a versatile offense. They're able to kind of flip a switch. They can run and gun, out of the transition sets. If you want to get a quick shot up, they have things to do that. They have the pieces that allow them to do that. But then also if they want to pull it back, if they want to slow things down and create those opportunities to run a set play or maybe an ISO, whatever the case may be, when they're fully healthy, I really think the sky's the limit for this Lynchburg team.
Yeah, you can work some matchup things too. If the other team's in their player-to-player, their man-to-man defense, you can identify what defender you might want to go at. Some of that fun stuff. Jenna Sawyer's back in the ball game. So is Taylor Brown for Lynchburg. They join Parker, Kaysen, and Petty. TB will hand it backwards to Brooke Kaysen. Now Parker driving right to left. Lobs it to Sawyers. Look at Sawyers get in there. Whack from behind. Great penetration on the dribble there. Again, another possession where Lynchburg really worked it sideline to sideline. Good mix of passing and dribbling. I think Sawyers would like to have that one back, but definitely the contact bothered the shot attempt.
And for Lynchburg, I mean, you just talk about having pieces at every level, especially on the offensive end. You got players like Spainhour and Taylor Brown who can get it done down low. You got Kaysen and Petty who can knock down the outside shots. But then you've also got players whenever they're healthy, like Littlejohn and Vandergriff, who are 3-level scorers. They can get it going from outside just like they can run those backdoor cuts, finish inside, knock a mid-range down. And they're just so versatile. And I think, when you've got so many, that's 6 players right there that you name off the top of the head that, they go deeper than that as well. It makes for a great offensive chemistry in that mix to be a successful team.
Sawyer's got 4 for Lynchburg. Petty leads the way with 9. Regent has not scored yet in the half. They've gone through some dry spells. 4 players have scored for Regent. Nobody has multiple field goals yet for Regent, Kevin, and that's obviously a glaring stat and tells you, again, some about the issues that Regent has had this year. It also tells you a lot about Lynchburg's defensive effort right now, too. I prefer to give the Hornets more credit there than disparaging the Royals in any way.
Yeah, and you have to. I mean, Lynchburg has done a great job of disrupting passing lanes or limiting transition opportunities. It's really, it's fun to watch. It's great basketball when you see a team come out and execute, on both ends of the floor, defensively allowing absolutely nothing easy for this Regent team. No fast break opportunities. They're hardly getting beat, on a first step to the basket, and then offensively kind of knocking the ball in at will. It kind of makes for a perfect game. And if you're Coach Nichols, obviously you want some coaching points to be able to talk about after a game, but when you look at the stat sheet, you're going to feel pretty good about what your team accomplished.
Yeah, I think Coach Nichols, she's a master coach. She knows you can't really nitpick too much after a win like this. Sure, she's got to find a few things that the squad still needs to work on as Taylor Brown bottles the first free throw, does the same with the second. A little bit more on Regent. I mean, they average 51.1 points per game, pardon me. A couple ODAC opponents, Eastern Mennonite and also Virginia Wesleyan. One common opponent was North Carolina Wesleyan. Regent lost to the battling Bishops. Lynchburg beat NC Wesleyan back on November the 16th. That was a 15-point win for Lynchburg. That was on the road in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. So, that common opponent doesn't tell you the whole story, but it gave us a glimpse of what this game might be like. Again, I think Lynchburg defensively right now, this is about as close to throwing a shutout as you can get on the basketball court, holding Regent to 11. Lynchburg coming into the game had been limiting opponents to 61.9 points per game. A block from Taylor Brown, but she'll get called for the foul. And now Regent a chance to score from the stripe, but that'll come after our media timeout. It's all Hornets here on a Tuesday afternoon inside Turner. 56-11, Lynchburg on top of Regent. It's Kyle and Kevin caroling all the way here on a Tuesday afternoon inside Turner. Free throws coming for the Regent Royals, who have not scored in this third quarter yet. Kevin, I think for Regent, again, they're back in Lynchburg on Thursday, taking on Randolph. So that's the other thing. You got to think long term as well. The comeback's probably not going to happen in this game. That might be file that under the stranger things category. But you're looking for some positives to build on if you're Coach Minter and the rest of his staff. As Carter made 1 of 2, 56-12. For Regent, you and I both said the effort. We don't think the effort is the problem. Let's put it that way.
No, absolutely not. I think the biggest thing is, we talked about at the top of the broadcast, 7 of your 11 players on the roster are first years. It's going to take some time to learn different playing styles. You got to get acclimated. It's one thing to get acclimated to the college level, but then you got to throw in, okay, now I got to play with 11 new faces, teammates I've never played with before. Try to figure out the pieces of this puzzle as it goes along. And like you said, you never want to throw away a season, but this is just one of those opportunities where you can figure out what works and what doesn't work. So as you continue to find that blueprint and DNA, you know exactly what you're looking for in players that are coming in, as well as how to acclimate them to your team's culture.
Tough to adjust those goals sometimes as a basketball coach, especially when you have high standards, you're competitive, you want to win games. Jenna Sawyers went into the lane and made some contact. Regent player rising to their feet. Will be a foul that will send Sawyers to the free throw line to shoot 2. 16 fouls on Regent in the quarter, so I'm not sure if it was in the act of shooting or not, Kevin, but it's a moot point here because Lynchburg's in the bonus, Regent in the penalty. Sawyers, left-handed shooter, will front iron the first. What do we got? Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen, and then, of course, Rudolph. Of course, Rudolph. You got a favorite or a most underrated reindeer?
I've always been a dasher guy, man.
Been a big dasher guy.
I got to do it. We're talking about speed here.
Yeah.
You got to be able to get across the world.
Sure.
In less than 6 hours.
Right.
And you got a guy named Dasher. He's going to get it done for you.
That's a great point. I do love Blitzen as a name.
I think that fits the speed category as well.
It does. And you wonder, I love the song Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but you wonder sometimes, at least I do, this is what I think about late at night, why did Santa Claus allow the other reindeer to be so mean to Rudolph for all those years? They wouldn't let him play in any of the reindeer games like basketball.
Well, maybe he didn't know. Maybe it's just one of those things where, you let your guys in the off season kind of do their own thing. And he finally gets incorporated and he's an all-star guy.
Right. And you could argue that made him a tougher guy and made him ready for those snowy, foggy nights that he had to lead the way on with the shiny red nose. Foul on Jenna Sawyer.
Oh, that's the biggest thing. I mean, you talk about a guy that's got to lead the way. How about that role?
Yeah.
And, you can't be soft doing it.
No, you really – and, yeah, some reindeer are built for that. And Rudolph was and is built for that as Eliza Ensminger tees up the free throw and nails it. 3 blocks against North Carolina Wesleyan. She played 28 minutes off the bench against Wesleyan. That was last Wednesday, December 10th. Almost a shot-put free throw style there from Ensminger. There's a tie-up on the baseline. And see, back to the energy. When the player hit the floor for Regent, you noticed all the other 4 players went over there to help her up. That's something you see at the highest levels in the NBA and in Division I college basketball. I think the bones are solid for Regent. I really do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, playing every minute of the game, there's nobody checked out, even on the bench. Everybody's involved in every play. It's just one of those things where you start to clean up some of these little mistakes and you find yourself in more and more of these ball games.
Natalie Poole back in the ball game for Lynchburg, who leads 57-13. No field goals in the third quarter for Regent. Handoff here to Allie Schaefer, who hit some 3-pointers earlier. She's proving she can be a very dangerous weapon from beyond the long line. Poole's going to try it from straight away. Rebounded by Jacobisi. Ball spills on a play. It'll stay with Lynchburg. Let's talk about Lynchburg and their energy level. I mean, you can still see the bench players and the players that aren't in uniform getting into it, rooting the teammates on, saying the right things.
Yeah, and I think that's become a staple of this team. And you look back at Coach Nichols' preseason press conference, and that was one of her keys. Getting everybody involved, everyone on the bench being able to pick each other up in down times and being able to support each other in the good times. And I think that's led to, not only team bonding, but the chemistry, if you will.
Shipman's going to fake the three and now drive on Poole. Got a little separation, pulled up. Couldn't knock it down. Good individual play there. As Kennedy Shipman will walk back to the free throw line left. Shipman's got 4. It's 1 3-pointer and 1 free throw right now for Shipman. Kayla Sledge back in the ball game for Lynchburg. Shipman's hit her season high of 19 twice. She will connect on the first free throw. 2:44 left to play in quarter 3. Lynchburg's women's team, I'll say it again, is off until January 2nd after today. Then it'll be back-to-back games, 2nd and the 3rd. It's a Friday and a Saturday. We hope you'll join us in the gym or on Flo. There you go, Schaefer again making it rain outside as Jamarcus Brown on the public address, getting into it and having some fun along with us. Holiday triple play for Allie Schaefer. That's her 3rd long ball of the game. Answer from Shipman inside as she gets skinny going to the hole. 60-15. Let's see if Schaefer wants to make it a Holiday 4 play. Can't connect. Jacobisi powering up. No good. Second chance, Kayla Sledge. Basket. (62-17). Still mostly Lynchburg. Kennedy Shipman starting to come alive. Shipman is a Virginia Beach native. And there is a heavy Tidewater presence for Regent. Timeout on the court. Royals take 1. We'll pause as well. Back in a flash here. 62-17. Lynchburg on LHSN and Flo College. .11 in the scorebook still for Lynchburg. Kayla Sledge did not score that last bucket. I beg your pardon, fans. I think Sledgehammer's going to get one in the hoop here in just a moment. Triple on the way from Ensminger as the shot clock was winding down. Probably actually good court awareness by her to pull it. Emily Evans in the ball game. Poole for 3. Can't rattle it home. 1:12 left to play in the 3rd. Kyle and Kevin discussing basketball and reindeer and everything in between. Foul will send Shipman back to the free throw line. She spent some time here today. This will be attempts 5 and 6. What about holiday traditions, Kevin? Any special ones in the Nestor household that you'd like to share? Just the usual stuff?
Yeah, just the usual stuff with the family. I think one of my biggest ones was, in my time at Ferrum, they started the production to play Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. So every year I try to make it back there at least once a year. That's kind of going back, seeing some of the guys and girls there. It's an awesome show. And it's one of those things. I think that one's a household name. And it's actually, you can only see that play, that production in 2 places in the entire world, Chicago and good old Ferrum, Virginia.
Wow. And is it a one-shot deal, or they do it Friday, Saturday, Sunday kind of thing? I got multiple chances.
Yeah, so they do it. Usually, it's a 2-week thing. Okay. They'll start it on a Tuesday and run it through 2 weeks. Take Mondays off. They got shows at night throughout the week, and then Sunday they got the matinee at 2 p.m. Gives you a couple different chances to see it. But I'm telling you, if you're in the area and you want to go see a good holiday play, that's the one to go and see.
3-pointer from Mia Whitehurst, no good. Give me the name again.
Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
Love it.
If you don't know the play, And go watch it on YouTube. It's a great show.
Allie
Great
Schaefer
movie.
putting on a great show, and she'll have a chance at the old-fashioned three-point play. She's already had 3 of the newfangled three-point plays, but this will be the old-fashioned one. And Kevin, you know where the phrase comes from. We didn't always have the three-point line. And Schaefer has converted one of those old-time varieties there. Now, I knew you had some culture, man, but that really impresses me with the way you spoke about that production there.
Yeah, I love it. It was one of those, opportunities I got to do at Lynchburg. I think my sophomore year. Got to spend the winter there building the set, interacting with everyone in the theater department. It's really like a family environment there, and did a really good job building and producing kind of that theatrical piece. And it's a really good chance to be a part of it. And like I said, it's just one of those holiday festivities, but you get a chance to see it. Even if you don't see the play in person, look it up on YouTube and watch the film. It's a great, great holiday film.
Very cool. Very cool. We'll stay here because we just took that time out. We got the head nod from Grayson, our fantastic producer. We've got help on the cameras today from our Lynchburg softball coaching staff. 2 former players, but they are in the coaching mode now, so I want to make sure I give Huddy and Kaylee Hackett their just due as coaches. Let's talk about this Lynchburg sports culture in general. I think it's as strong as it's ever been, and that's across the board, all the sports. And you get things like this where we get assistant coaches running our cameras on the Christmas break. Everybody seems to pull for each other and root for each other, and that winning thing is contagious too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you talk about Lynchburg sports culture, that's the word that I would use to describe it, is winning. And like you said, it's so awesome to see sport, every sport support each other. Obviously we have Code Red environments, but it's not just Code Reds. Obviously those are the big ones. You get to see a big crowd, ton of noise, but it's really every game. You see so many different athletes going out and supporting different teams. And I mean, why not? Every team feels like they have a chance to go out and make a statement in the conference, and maybe even at the national level. It's just, it's kind of unheard of at the D3 level with how much talent and competition there is for a school to kind of just be as good as Lynchburg is and have the support from not only the fans but also your peers as an athlete. It's a big time deal, and Lynchburg's done a great job of not only the culture here but continuing to build it with their staff, with their players, with everyone that supports these programs.
On your left, you see our outstanding athletic director and executive producer, John Waters. I mentioned it earlier. We didn't think we were going to have internet. We didn't know if we were going to get the game on, but Mr. Waters sprang into action, as he so often does. He went to the equestrian facility. He got the device and the equipment that they use to stream their equestrian matches. And we got it here inside Turner Gymnasium, even though the regular Wi-Fi and then internet is still off right now, as far as I know anyway. It might be back now. I don't know.
I'm going to tell you, dude, I don't think he gets, enough flowers for what he does, not only for the athletic department, but kind of, here at LHSN, there's so many different things that go into the background of producing good broadcasts each and every sporting event. He's a big part of it. And like you said, just going out of his way to make sure we have that secondary source to, be on the air. We were coming up with plan B and a doomsday plan for just having to record this and upload it at a later time, but John said, no, we'll figure it out, and here we are.
Toes on the line, long 2 for Audra Petty. Yeah, Mr. Waters gives us the incredible resources, and then he just lets us spread our wings. Occasionally he'll say, I didn't like how you guys ran down the reindeer there. You need to keep it about basketball. We might get that email tomorrow, but probably not. He'll probably say you should have mentioned this reindeer more, something like that, knowing Mr. Waters. Runner won't fall. Lynchburg's got the 5 starters back in. See how long this quartet plays. 67-19. There's a 6-7 reference or joke to be made in there if you want it, fans. Petty can't connect from the left side. Audra Petty in double figures again. She has had 10 points or more in every game this season now, Kevin. And check out this incredible stat for the sophomore. 19 of her 33 career games, she's had 10 points or more. I mean, she is a bona fide scoring threat and a dependable one at that.
Yeah, and if it makes sense, I still think she's underrated in some assets. We come in to these games and we talk about Brooke Kaysen or, Little John when she's healthy, or Vandergrift or Bree Spainhour, and a lot of times Audra Petty doesn't kind of get the credit she deserves, and she's a big-time player for this Lynchburg team, and she has been her entire career.
That's a fantastic insight by you there as we get a foul. It's going to send Bree Spainhour to the line right. Because I wonder if other teams in their scouting report feel that, or do you think Audra Petty is public enemy number one for the Lynchburg opponents? I mean, everybody's got the stats like we do in the film, and I know you can't put yourself in the mind of all the opposing coaches, but do you think maybe she gets overlooked by the other teams?
Well, it's tough to game plan for this Lynchburg team, I think, especially when they're healthy, because when you look at the scouting report, I mean, you see somebody like Spainhour at the line who can almost be on triple-double watch, when she plays at her level, and she has the minute production to be able to do that. And you look at, we talk about Little John when she's healthy and what she does with the ball, commanding the offense, and Vandergrift, her shot-making abilities. It limits what you can do as a defense. You can't try to trap or run as many doubles because then you're leaving one of those offensive threats open. So it's tough to say, what a team looks at, who they view as, who the key to stopping, because there's so many different, players that can get going.
Lynchburg by a bunch, 69-19. Another note about those players that can get going, 33 bench points today for Lynchburg. So it's not just the starting five, but really everybody contributing, as Brooke Kaysen missed the three. Spainhour ran it down but couldn't save it back in. 33 bench points. They had 31 bench points in the win against Mary Washington. This team is scoring points. This marks the 7th time this season they've got 65 or more. 65 points is kind of the demarcation line that I've figured out there. So it'll be a 7-2 record after tonight. But, that means 7 of 9 ball games, 65 points or more. And then you can start working with those combinations to find a great defensive lineup. I think it's going to be a defensive foul. No, it's an offensive foul. It was Bree Spainhour that took the hit from Sharday Williams, who was slightly out of control.
And it's tough to play the what-if game. You see the foul on your screen there, but you look at Lynchburg's record, and, they played, like you said, a ranked opponent up in Lexington and Washington Lee. That's a staple program in the ODAC. They played them extremely well. Obviously, that game that fell against Hollins, but you look at if this team stays healthy, I mean, they have a legit shot in the ODAC with the way they've been playing, championship caliber teams.
Yeah, and basketball being the tournament sport that it is, if you are playing your best ball at the end of the year, I think you're going to feel really good about your chances if you're Coach Nichols. Taylor Brown can't convert there. So there's an element. Coach Nichols is going to say, hey, when we get the ball in that low post, we got to score it or get to the free throw line, draw some contact. And that's not to be critical of Taylor Brown. But I just think Coach Nichols will find some coaching keys from this one.
That's always so tough because you look at that on both sides. As a player, you're like, why are you so mad? Why do we have so many coaching points? We won by, whatever it is, 40 or 50. But then as a coach, we can be better.
Right.
And that's when you separate yourself from, just an average team to be a really good team. When you work on those little pieces, those intricate details that, build a program. And I think for Coach Nichols and her squad, they're really looking forward to this break. You get a chance to kind of slow things down, get some key players healthy for this team before you really kind of enter that heavy conference slate with so many juggernaut teams. It just gives you a chance to mentally reset. I don't really think you're going to reset much on the basketball court because you've had some really good results, but just that chance to get everybody healthy, take your mind off of basketball for just a few weeks and then come back and be ready to put the nose back to the stone and get to work.
Sharday Williams with a good little clockwise spin to get the basket. I'm going to call that an intentional foul. I believe that's Zipporah Johnson. They got whistled for the foul. She appears to be a little banged up herself. I don't know if there was some back and forth. Almost wonder if Johnson committed the foul to get subbed out of the game. You see that actually back to the NBA. You see some of the old-timers, James Harden and those guys, they'll just commit the foul intentionally to stop the game so they can get subbed out. It almost had that kind of a vibe to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Call it a flagrant one.
Obviously, by rule, you can't call a timeout unless you have the ball or the ball is out of play. Taylor Brown will shoot the free throws here. Lynchburg trying to get to the 70-point mark. Back to that nose to the grindstone. Great phrasing by you, by the way. Basketball is so interesting because you start your practice in late October. You got to have a break for Thanksgiving. You got your exam break. You got your holiday break. And coaches have found over the years it's best just to send the players home, right? Like, I think in the old days you would have more coaches that would say, hey, we're going to stay here over all break and we're just going to keep practicing. It's hard to keep the team focused. So you send them home, you get a little break. But now once you come back from that holiday break, there's not too many more breaks after that. And I think if you have a long run, you can get into that spring break, which is obviously frustrating to have to break again. But for the most part, like you said, it is nose to the stone time, and you really got to buckle down and get ready for what's hopefully a postseason run of success.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's why it's so important as a coach to go ahead and send your players home, over break. Let them get that chance to reset and slow down for a little bit because, you're going to harp on them that as soon as they come back, there is no break. We're all gas. And you got to hunker down for 2 more months after that, if you want to really make an impact on your conference.
Takeaway by Allie Schaefer. She'll angle back to the basket, had the shot blocked. Good defensive presence there inside by the Royals' number 20, Michaela Telfer. There goes Sharday Williams again. Shot will fall. Some late fight here from Regent. And I talk about all these breaks. I mean, it's not anything a basketball player hasn't dealt with. You've been playing high school basketball and stuff before that where you had holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas and the other holidays as well. Hey, we'll say Happy Hanukkah while we're at it. I think it's going to be night 3 of Hanukkah coming up. I think it started sundown on Sunday. And, whatever you choose to celebrate this holiday season, have fun with it. I think you got to celebrate every game. We know, Kevin, that life is so almost heartbreakingly short. I mean, really, we should be celebrating every time we get to hang out and watch sports and whatever the case may be.
Absolutely, every moment. I mean, you come in here and you get a chance to get away from the real world for a second and, just enjoy something that, brings us all here. I think that's what's, so great about this time of year. And you talk about sending players home for the break. Obviously, I think that's easier to do as a college coach. You got that maturation from the players to be able to say, hey, I know you're not going to go home for 3 weeks and sit on the couch. You're going to stay in the gym. You're going to stay in shape, and you'll be ready when you come back. I think that's always difficult for younger players because you look forward to that break. You get to go home and chill out, but at the same time, you got that responsibility to stay in shape and be ready when the season comes back to Turner.
Yeah, Coach Nichols said pretty much exactly what your phrasing was. You hope the players get some running in and stay in shape, and hopefully on top of that, they can get out to their old high school gym or wherever and get some shots up. As we get another timeout on the court. Hey, we'll break one final time here for our broadcast. We've got 4:40 left to play in the ball game. It's Lynchburg 70, Regent 25. Lynchburg by 45 against Regent. Lynchburg's not really threatening any major team highs or program records in this one, but it is going to go down. It's one of the more lopsided wins, I think, in Coach Nichols' career. She'll be happy to get it. Lynchburg will move to 4-1 inside Turner this season. Back-to-back home games coming up to begin the brand new year. Jackie Jacobisi lost the handle. Joining her on court right now, Allison Booth, Allie Schaefer, Taylor Brown, and Natalie Poole, the 5 out there for Lynchburg. Kyle and Kevin spending just a few more moments with you before we hit the road and get set for a neutral affair between the Randolph Wildcats and the Greensboro Pride. That's part of the Wayne Prophet Classic. Lynchburg will take on Greensboro tomorrow. You used to get 4 teams in that. I think the idea now is give Greensboro 2 games against 2 good ODAC opponents.
Absolutely.
And if you're Randolph, you touched on that. Yeah, you got to go across town to play in somebody else's gym, but you get a ball game against a good USA South opponent. Allison Booth for 3, wide right. Got her own rebound, though. Couldn't convert the second chance try. Williams on the ground with Taylor Brown. This ball will stay with Lynchburg. But I know you've been watching a lot of hoops. Go back to that ODAC men's scene right now. Four teams in the top 25, and you look at the next 4, they could easily make a case to be in the top 25.
Yeah,
you look at the next 4 after that, and they're as good as the top teams in some other conferences. It really is loaded right now.
Yeah, I mean, a week ago you talk about 4 teams, not only in the top 25, in the top 14.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible as a conference, and I really genuinely think that the ODAC is the best conference for men's basketball right now in Division III. And teams go out and they showcase it each and every night. And you talk about it. The next 4 after that, well, they're looking to make a statement as well. And then the next 4 after that, you want to say play spoiler, but they're good enough teams to where that's the case. That's what they can do. So it's not an easy conference by any means, and that's what makes it so fun to watch.
Yeah, even those teams that are not in that top 8, if you don't play your A game against a squad like a Randolph, for example, you can get exposed. You can get beat, and they don't have to do anything completely outside their norm. They just have to play a good ball game to beat you. And transitioning back to the women's side, I said this on a previous broadcast, I could see the women's side becoming the same way. I mean, you've got Washington and Lee, who's kind of the ringleader right now, but I think that rising tide lifts all boats, to use a phrase. I think everybody else is getting better and better, and I wouldn't be shocked to see multiple teams on the women's side from the ODAC be ranked year in, year out. Yeah. And we see that in other sports as well. So, again, wouldn't be shocking to see that at all.
No, absolutely. Like you said, other sports as well. I mean, you talk about, men's soccer, for example, just wrapped up. 4 teams that were easily making their case for a bid. You look at Lynchburg, Washington and Lee, Bridgewater, Hampton and Sydney, and then like you said here in the women's game, women's basketball. The talent has just continued to rise year after year and really week after week. You're seeing teams play at levels that nobody really expected coming into the season, and that's what makes this slate so fun. Game in and game out, you don't know what you're going to get, and you have to keep your eyes all around the ODAC, not just here in Turner, because at any point in time, something could happen. You might want to keep up with it.
Yeah.
You might have that team down the stretch, or you might have them in the tournament. You got to know what's going on.
And I think women's volleyball, similar. 3 teams in the NCAA tournament, nearly 4. Baseball in the spring, multiple teams in the NCAA tournament. And it is, you could see a team legitimately be the 4th or 5th best team in the ODAC regular season and make a national championship run. And as
Absolutely.
you said, you want your eyes on that. You want to be able to say, yeah, I saw them in December and predicted that kind of thing.
It's crazy because, back in my time at Fair, when they were in the ODAC, I used to tell people all the time, the ODAC is the SEC of Division III, if you will. And I think that's just continually expanded. Back then, you had your Washington and Lees and your Virginia Wesleyans, kind of the staple in all sports. And then all of a sudden, here comes Lynchburg and Bridgewater and Hampton and Sydney and all of these teams, that have just continued to get better in every sport. And like you said, it won't be a surprise when you see a team that finished 4th or 5th in the ODAC win a national championship or make that kind of push in the next 2 or 3 years. It's not going to be it might be to the outside world,
Sure.
but to those who know the ODAC, you're going to know, okay, this team was legit.
No doubt about it. 72-27. Still all Lynchburg as both teams continue to play hard here for the waning stages of this ball game. Natalie Poole nearly with an intercept steal. Give us some predictions about this Lynchburg women's team. I'll go ahead and tee you up. You said you got Bree Spainhour on triple-double watch. You think she'll get that at some point?
Absolutely. I think, her senior year this year, she's been super close in the past. I think as her minutes continue to, increase in pivotal games and as she continues to get healthier and get acclimated, and she has a real chance. I said it earlier, passing is such an underrated part of her game. We know she can score the ball. She's a really good rebounder for this team. It wouldn't surprise me, if she goes out here in her last campaign wearing a Hornet jersey and puts up a triple-double. And I think for the team in general, I really, this is a team that, in my eyes, make the tournament pretty soundly, just with how good and how talented they are. And then I think they can make a deep run. Obviously, you never know how seeding works out and who you've got to play, but they have a legit shot.
I agree with everything you said there. And with Spainhour, you're right. It kind of needs to be a close game, so she's out there for the bulk of the contest. Right now, in a game like this, she's just not going to get enough minutes to get all those stats. Brooke Kaysen actually leads the team in minutes played right now, fans. 30-plus minutes in her last 6 straight games. Brooke Kaysen played 42 against Hollins, and, of course, that game went into overtime. That's how she got a couple extra minutes in there. But that's something you need for all those stats. You just got to be on the court for a while. This free throw will not fall.
Yeah, I mean, and just to touch on, the strength of the ODAC in the women's basketball game, you look at the top 8 right now, the worst record is 5-3.
Yeah.
I mean, they're legit. You got Guilford and W&L sitting at 9-0, 8-0 right now, and then down the list, 8-1, 7-1, 6-2, 7-2. It's a similar pace. So these teams are so close, together and bunched up that it's not funny. These pivotal games, when conference time rolls around, are going to play a huge role in not only, who makes the tournament, who doesn't, but also those seedings. Because those matchups, in the first round, they're going to be fun to watch with how crazy, this season can really play out to be.
You mentioned the young talent as well. Great defense there from Kayla Sledge, who is a senior. And, I think about the young talent, though, and I think as you hit on a little bit, we'll get back to here with 62 seconds left, that can be a real weapon for Lynchburg down the stretch. It can allow Coach Nichols, if she wants to play a 10, 11, 12-player rotation. I think at times Lynchburg, as Allison Booth laces one from the right corner, her first points of the season. Congrats to Allison Booth. I think at times Lynchburg, has had more of a 6 or 7-player rotation. But with more confidence on that bench, I think Coach Nichols just got all kinds of tools at her disposal.
Yeah, 100%. I think it makes it, even more tough to defend against because your star players, if you will, the names to watch, they're not going to have to play, 30-plus minutes every single game. They're going to have, that role reduced a little bit, and that's not a bad thing. You're going to keep legs fresh. You're going to give them better opportunities, quality looks. And then the ones that are coming off the bench that are coming into the game for them have a chance to make an impact as well. So having that depth is not an issue.
Crowd comes alive here inside Turner Gymnasium to congratulate Lynchburg on win number 7 this season. They take down Regent 75-32. Royals fall to 1-9. Best of luck to them the rest of the way. They are in Hill City again on Thursday, taking on Randolph at 2 p.m. Lynchburg 7-2 on the year now. They're off until 2026. It's home games on January 2nd and January 3rd. We would love to see you inside the gym or watching on LHSN. Kevin, think of some closing thoughts. I'll give you some numbers while you do that. Lynchburg, 19 of 23 from the free throw line. That's over 82%. I think a good number there. They won the rebounding battle 47-31. Lynchburg, really, any of the stats you look at, they're going to be pretty dominant here. For Regent, they were led by Kennedy Shipman with 13 points. That's the 6th time she's been in double figures. This year, Sharday Williams also got 11 for Regent. For Lynchburg, 12 players scored. Allie Schaefer, your top scorer, with 12 points. Audra Petty finishes with 11. Bree Spainhour, 10. Madison Hoffman, 8. I mean, really, again, the stats all look great for Lynchburg. A pretty convincing victory here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And the biggest thing for them is over this, 2.5, 3 week extended break they've got coming up is getting healthy. Because a lot of their playmakers, whether they're sitting out, due to injury or they're playing through a little bit of, soreness or whatever the case may be, you have this chance to mentally reset, get your body right. Because when you come back, that ODAC slate kind of slaps you in the face, and you've got to be ready to get after it. And you want everybody 100% healthy whenever that time comes around.
Well, this was a blast. working with you.
Absolutely.
I think selfishly we might have enjoyed this more than any of the fans. I shouldn't say that. I don't know how much the fans enjoyed it, but I know we enjoyed the heck out of it.
Absolutely.
Have a great Christmas, buddy, and we'll see each other for a little bit more hoops inside Turner today and tomorrow. Women's basketball team back on January 2nd. We'll talk to you then. Hornets take this one 75-32 over the Royals from Regent. Kevin Nestor, Kyle Haney, and our entire LHSN team wishing you the happiest of holidays and a very Merry Christmas.